The Galactic Council had gathered in an emergency meeting, summoned by a strange and unsettling phenomenon. For years, they had watched humanity grow, expanding their influence across the galaxy. At first, the Council had dismissed the human race as insignificant, a primitive species with little technological prowess and even less military strength. However, something about their military operations had sparked curiosity and, more importantly, fear. The galaxy's greatest minds were baffled by the reputation of one human force, the Navy SEALs. These soldiers, who seemed to emerge from nowhere, were reported to accomplish impossible missions with nothing more than basic tools and sheer willpower. Their actions weren't confined to mere skirmishes. Entire galactic campaigns were altered by their presence. The Council's most trusted intelligence officers had come across a pattern that was both troubling and perplexing. The Navy SEALs never failed. They weren't just skilled warriors. They were a force that defied all logic. This wasn't about advanced technology or overwhelming numbers. The Navy SEALs' strength lay in something the Council had not anticipated, something beyond their understanding. The report was clear. Wherever Navy SEALs had been deployed, there was an uncanny ability to overcome impossible odds, taking down enemies with far superior firepower and technology. The Council members, a conglomerate of some of the galaxy's most intelligent and advanced beings, were confused. Their technology, military strategies, and centuries of war experience had never prepared them for this. How could humans, a race so seemingly primitive, be so effective in war? What was their secret? This was the question the Council needed an answer to. No longer content with merely hearing rumors of human military prowess, they decided it was time for an investigation. An emergency meeting was convened to find the truth behind these legendary soldiers. Rumors had circulated of a covert operation carried out by a Navy SEAL team on an alien planet, an operation so successful it became a myth across the stars. These stories spoke of human soldiers infiltrating an alien homeworld, an advanced species known for its superior technology and unyielding military might. Despite being outnumbered, under-equipped, and far less advanced than their alien counterparts, these Navy SEALs had somehow pulled off a victory that sent shockwaves through the galaxy. The question was, how? The Council needed answers, fast. They knew that if humans could possess such a remarkable force, their expansion across the galaxy would only accelerate. The threat wasn't just about their military, it was about the potential humanity held. The Council had already seen humans make waves in galactic politics, economics, and warfare, but the Navy SEALs were something altogether different. Their impact was unpredictable, and unpredictability was the last thing the Galactic Council wanted. As the investigation into the Navy SEALs began, the Council uncovered something unexpected. The Navy SEALs were not just soldiers, but a symbol of human resilience. They were not defined by their weapons, technology, or resources. They were defined by their mindset, a belief in victory no matter the cost, no matter the odds. It wasn't the SEALs' advanced gadgets or weaponry that set them apart. It was their spirit, their ability to adapt, their refusal to be defeated. These soldiers had been trained to never back down, to never accept failure. The investigation revealed that, even when faced with an overwhelming enemy, the Navy SEALs had one fundamental belief: the mission was always achievable. This mindset, coupled with their tactical genius, was a potent weapon that none of the galaxy's most powerful species had anticipated. The Council members, who had prided themselves on their intelligence and foresight, now found themselves in a position they were unaccustomed to. They had underestimated humanity. The SEALs' abilities weren't just a fluke. They weren't a result of superior technology or training, they were a reflection of something far more dangerous: human determination. The Galactic Council convened again, this time to discuss the revelations they had uncovered. The members were divided. Some of them were convinced that this force, these Navy SEALs, were an anomaly, a small but dangerous threat that could be contained. Others, however, feared what might happen if humanity's true potential was allowed to flourish unchecked. The Navy SEALs were more than a military unit. They represented an ideology, a way of thinking that the galaxy had never encountered before. The Council members, some more cautious than others, understood that human resilience could easily turn the tide in a galactic war. If the Navy SEALs were allowed to continue operating freely, they could become the key to unlocking humanity's rise to power. The urgency was clear. If the Navy SEALs were as formidable as they appeared, then humanity might very well be on the brink of something extraordinary, something that could shake the foundations of galactic politics and military strategy. The Council understood this all too well, and their next move would have to be carefully considered. They could no longer afford to dismiss humanity as a mere footnote in the history of the galaxy. The SEALs were proof that humanity's potential was vast and dangerous. Thus, the investigation into the Navy SEALs continued, each discovery revealing more about the nature of these soldiers and the threat they posed. The more the Council learned, the more they realized that the SEALs weren't just a military unit, they were a paradigm shift. Something new. Something terrifying. As the meeting came to a close, the Council's leaders found themselves with a difficult decision ahead. They knew they had to take action before humanity's influence spread too far. The Navy SEALs could no longer be allowed to operate freely, but their very presence had already begun to alter the course of galactic history. This was a moment of reckoning, and the Council knew they could no longer treat humanity as a secondary threat. The Navy SEALs were no longer just a military force, they were a symbol of humanity's unparalleled determination, and that symbol had to be stopped, or else the balance of power in the galaxy might forever be changed. The investigation into the Navy SEALs by the Galactic Council took a deeper turn as they began to probe the specifics of a legendary mission, one that had become more myth than reality among the stars. It was during the First Galactic War that humans first encountered a species known for its unyielding military dominance. This species, armed with advanced weaponry and shields beyond the comprehension of most races, was expected to crush any invading force with ease. However, what transpired when a team of Navy SEALs was deployed on a covert mission turned the tide in a way no one could have anticipated. The SEALs were sent to infiltrate the homeworld of this alien species, a planet so fortified it was considered invulnerable. It wasn't about taking over the planet or engaging in a large-scale military assault. The mission was simple yet daring: sabotage the enemy's critical infrastructure, disable their advanced technology, and escape before they could even detect their presence. There was no backup, no reinforcements, just a team of highly trained soldiers against a powerful, technologically superior enemy. What made this mission particularly intriguing to the Galactic Council was the fact that the SEALs had no advanced weaponry. They didn't have the latest energy weapons or plasma bombs. They didn't have shield generators or the sophisticated gadgets that most other species relied upon. They had simple, traditional tools and weapons that the Council considered archaic: guns, explosives, and hand-to-hand combat skills. The only thing that set them apart was their training, resourcefulness, and a relentless mindset that refused to acknowledge failure as an option. The SEALs were underestimated from the moment they landed. The alien species, with their towering mechs and impenetrable energy shields, considered the human soldiers to be insignificant pests. But this was a fatal mistake. The Navy SEALs' plan was never about overpowering the enemy through sheer force. It was about using the enemy's overconfidence and technological arrogance against them. They adapted quickly, turning the terrain into their ally, using guerrilla tactics and psychological warfare to create chaos within the alien ranks. The SEALs didn't fight like conventional soldiers. They fought like shadows, striking when least expected, and retreating before their foes could even retaliate. The Galactic Council, upon learning about this mission, began to see why the Navy SEALs were unlike any force they had ever encountered. The aliens, with all their advanced weaponry, were not prepared for the unpredictability and sheer willpower of a human soldier. The SEALs were not just physically skilled, they were mentally invincible. They operated with a level of determination that no other species could match. This was not just a victory won through tactics, it was a victory that relied on the human ability to think, adapt, and overcome. As the SEALs worked their way through the enemy's defenses, they used their minimal resources to maximum effect. They would strike vital communication hubs, disable energy shields, and destroy supply lines. Every move they made was calculated, designed to cripple the alien forces without ever directly engaging in full-scale combat. The alien species, accustomed to overwhelming their enemies with superior technology, found themselves unable to counter the unpredictable nature of human tactics. The SEALs exploited every flaw, every weakness, turning what seemed like insurmountable odds into an opportunity for success. The key to their success, the Council would later realize, wasn't just the physical combat skills of the Navy SEALs. It was their ability to think several steps ahead. Every maneuver was calculated, every action part of a larger plan. The SEALs anticipated their enemies' moves before they even made them, exploiting their opponents' overconfidence and the belief that technology could solve any problem. It wasn't just about what the SEALs did, it was about how they made their enemies react. By the time the alien forces realized what was happening, it was too late. The damage had been done. The operation was completed without the aliens ever knowing the full extent of the threat they had faced. The Navy SEALs achieved their objective, sabotaging the alien species' critical infrastructure, and withdrew without leaving a trace. The alien species, humiliated by their inability to stop the human soldiers, realized they had been outmaneuvered by something far more dangerous than superior technology, by human ingenuity. The Council's intelligence reports on this mission painted a picture that was both astonishing and terrifying. The Navy SEALs had not just completed their mission, they had done so in a way that no one thought possible. They had outwitted an advanced species, using basic human tactics to accomplish what no other force in the galaxy could have achieved. The Council was left with the undeniable truth: the Navy SEALs were not a force to be underestimated. They had the ability to take on any foe, no matter how advanced or powerful, and emerge victorious. This was not just about military superiority, it was about human adaptability. The SEALs didn't need to match their enemies in technology. They used their brains, their tactics, and their indomitable spirit to achieve their goals. The success of the mission was a testament to the Navy SEALs' unique ability to adapt to any environment, to think beyond the conventional methods of war, and to succeed where others would have failed. The Galactic Council now found themselves facing a new reality. The Navy SEALs were not just soldiers. They were a living example of human potential, a force that could not be easily replicated or defeated. The implications of this realization were vast. If humans could accomplish such feats with minimal resources and basic tactics, what would they be capable of with access to more advanced technology? The Council knew that this wasn't just a fluke, it was a sign of things to come. And they feared that humanity, with its relentless drive and adaptability, was a force that could one day dominate the galaxy. The investigation into the Navy SEALs had taken an unexpected turn. As the Galactic Council delved deeper into the history of these human soldiers, they began to realize that the true power of the SEALs wasn't found in their advanced weaponry or specialized training. It wasn't even about their physical prowess, which, while impressive, was not what set them apart from other soldiers across the galaxy. What truly made the SEALs a force to be reckoned with was their unshakable mindset, a psychological force that made them stand out as warriors in a way that no other species could replicate. The Council's intelligence officers began to dig into the SEALs' mentality, and what they uncovered left them both astounded and terrified. The Navy SEALs weren't simply soldiers, they were men and women driven by an ideology. They adhered to a set of principles that went beyond tactics and physical combat. It was their mental resilience, their relentless belief that no mission was impossible, that truly set them apart. They were trained to believe that defeat was never an option, no matter how dire the circumstances. Their strength wasn't just in their muscles or their weapons, it was in their minds. The SEALs were never trained to back down. They didn't know the meaning of surrender. If a mission seemed impossible, they simply adapted and overcame. Their training wasn't just about learning how to fight, it was about building an unbreakable mindset. Every SEAL soldier was taught that the mission came first, no matter the cost. This mentality was what made them so dangerous to the Galactic Council, and it was something no other species had ever fully understood. As the Council reviewed more reports, they learned that this psychological resilience was precisely what allowed the SEALs to succeed in situations where other forces would have faltered. The SEALs didn't approach battles the way other military units did. They didn't rely solely on firepower or advanced technology. Instead, they relied on their ability to adapt and outthink their enemies. Their greatest strength was their ability to keep going when others would have given up, to press forward when the odds seemed impossible. The Navy SEALs understood something that the rest of the galaxy had missed. A soldier's greatest weapon isn't their gun, their armor, or their spaceship, it's their mind. The SEALs didn't need superior technology because they didn't need to rely on technology. They knew how to exploit the weaknesses of their enemies, how to play on their fears, and how to use psychological tactics to throw them off balance. This wasn't about outgunning an opponent, it was about outsmarting them, confusing them, and breaking their will to fight. This was the essence of Navy SEAL warfare, psychological warfare. The Galactic Council, upon realizing the depth of the SEALs' mindset, began to understand why they had been banned from galactic war. It wasn't just that the Navy SEALs were capable of winning, they were capable of winning in ways that other species couldn't even fathom. They could defeat a technologically superior enemy by exploiting their psychology and making them doubt their own abilities. The SEALs could demoralize their enemies, turning them against each other, creating disarray, and leaving them vulnerable. In a way, the SEALs were a force of nature, an unpredictable, unstoppable wave that no amount of technology could withstand. The most terrifying aspect of the SEALs' mindset was that it was not just about intelligence or tactical knowledge, it was about belief. Every SEAL soldier believed, without a doubt, that they could accomplish their mission. Failure was never an option. If they were faced with a challenge, they would find a way to overcome it. This unwavering confidence and determination made them an unpredictable variable that no alien force could properly counter. The Council could not calculate the impact of human belief and willpower, and this lack of understanding made the Navy SEALs more dangerous than any other military force in the galaxy. The more the Council discovered, the more they realized how little they truly understood about the human spirit. They had always viewed humanity as a lesser species, one that could be easily controlled and contained. But the Navy SEALs had shattered that assumption. It wasn't just their advanced technology or their physical ability that made them dangerous. It was their mentality, their drive, and their unyielding belief that they could overcome anything. And in a galaxy where technology often reigned supreme, this human mindset was something that no one had ever seen before. In the eyes of the Galactic Council, this discovery was a game-changer. They understood now why the SEALs were so feared, and why they were banned from all future conflicts. The fear wasn't just about physical strength or combat skill, it was about the potential for humanity to rise, to become something far greater than anyone could have predicted. The Navy SEALs embodied everything that the Council had tried to control and suppress for eons: human resilience, creativity, and the refusal to back down. This made them a wild card, a variable that the Council could not predict or manage. The Council's fear only deepened as they realized the true extent of the SEALs' capabilities. If humanity, through its Navy SEALs, could learn to harness this mental strength, it could change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. The SEALs had proven that they could defeat the strongest foes not by overpowering them, but by breaking them down mentally and forcing them to question their own abilities. This was a kind of warfare the Council had never considered, and it was a form of combat they couldn't contain. The Navy SEALs, in their simple human way, had become the most dangerous force in the galaxy, not because of their weapons, but because of their minds. And as the Council came to grips with this truth, they knew they had to take drastic action. The Navy SEALs represented a new kind of threat, one that was not confined to the realm of traditional warfare. They represented a human force that could change everything, and the Council knew they couldn't let that happen. The SEALs had to be banned, not just for their military prowess, but for the psychological war they could wage against any opponent in the galaxy. The decision to ban the Navy SEALs was made in haste, but it was necessary. The Galactic Council had come to the unanimous conclusion that humanity's military potential could not be left unchecked. The Navy SEALs had proven to be more than just a physical force. They were a manifestation of human willpower and psychological warfare that no other species in the galaxy could counter. The fear of their unmatched abilities, combined with the unsettling truth that they were not confined to the conventional methods of warfare, created a profound dilemma for the Council. The legacy of the SEALs, however, did not end with their banishment. Across the galaxy, whispers of their extraordinary achievements spread like wildfire. Their reputation had been cemented as a force capable of accomplishing what no other military unit could, defeating seemingly insurmountable odds and leaving a lasting impression wherever they fought. The Council's decision to ban the Navy SEALs from galactic warfare was not an act of restraint but an acknowledgement of their potential to shift the power dynamics of the entire galaxy. It was a recognition that the SEALs represented a danger beyond mere weaponry. Despite the Council's efforts to suppress the Navy SEALs, their myth persisted. While the SEALs were officially prohibited from participating in any future wars, the stories of their victories continued to circulate. The alien races that had encountered them couldn't erase the memories of how a handful of human soldiers had outwitted, outlasted, and outsmarted them in battles where victory seemed impossible. The Navy SEALs had become a symbol of something bigger than themselves, an embodiment of humanity's indomitable spirit and ability to adapt and thrive in the face of overwhelming adversity. The Council's decision, made out of fear and the need to maintain control, had inadvertently turned the SEALs into a legend. In the shadows of the galaxy, whispers of their success reached even the most isolated civilizations. The idea of a human soldier overcoming impossible odds, using nothing more than sheer determination and tactical ingenuity, became a source of inspiration to many. Despite being banned from official conflicts, the Navy SEALs' legacy lived on in stories, in the hearts of those who admired their strength, and in the minds of those who feared what they represented. In truth, the ban had a counterintuitive effect. The Galactic Council had hoped to suppress the rise of human influence, but in doing so, they had inadvertently made the Navy SEALs an even more formidable force in the galaxy. Their mere existence, and the stories surrounding them, became a psychological weapon in and of itself. The Council's decision to eliminate the SEALs from galactic warfare only served to magnify their power, turning them into a symbol of human resistance that no one could ignore. While the Navy SEALs were no longer part of the official galactic conflicts, their tactics and mindset had already begun to infiltrate the broader human military structure. Other human forces, inspired by the SEALs' legendary approach to war, began adopting similar strategies. The methods of psychological warfare, adaptability, and mental resilience became key components of the human military doctrine. The Navy SEALs' legacy had spread far beyond their original unit, becoming the foundation upon which future generations of soldiers would build their own successes. The Galactic Council, in their desperation to stop humanity's rise, had underestimated the true power of the Navy SEALs. They had assumed that banning the SEALs from warfare would neutralize the threat they posed. What they failed to understand was that the true power of the Navy SEALs was not in their presence in battle, but in the lasting impact they had on the galaxy's perception of humanity. The Council had been forced to confront an undeniable truth: humans, with their unyielding spirit and ability to think beyond traditional warfare, had the potential to reshape the galaxy in ways no one had anticipated. But the banishment also highlighted the growing divide between humanity and the rest of the galaxy. It wasn't just about military power anymore. It was about a new kind of force that transcended technology and tactics. The SEALs had proven that human resilience was the most powerful weapon they possessed, and it was a weapon that no amount of technological advancement could ever replace. The rest of the galaxy, locked in their traditional ways of thinking, had failed to recognize the true strength of humanity. As the Council struggled to come to terms with the consequences of their actions, they could no longer ignore the fact that humanity, fueled by the legacy of the Navy SEALs, was evolving into something that could not be easily controlled. The SEALs had set a precedent, a new way of thinking about warfare, one that was based on mental strength, creativity, and an unwavering belief that no challenge was too great. The human spirit, once dismissed as a weakness, was now recognized as humanity's greatest strength. The Galactic Council had hoped to keep humanity in check, to control their rise and prevent their influence from spreading. But the Navy SEALs had shown that the true power of humanity lay not in technology or numbers, but in their determination, adaptability, and ability to break through barriers that others considered impenetrable. In attempting to ban the SEALs, the Council had inadvertently set the stage for the rise of a new kind of power in the galaxy, one that no amount of force, strategy, or technological superiority could ever fully overcome. The legacy of the Navy SEALs, their mindset, and the ripple effect of their actions had left an indelible mark on the galaxy. And as humanity's influence continued to grow, the Galactic Council found themselves at a crossroads. The SEALs had shown that it was not just about fighting battles. It was about winning wars, both on the battlefield and in the minds of those who faced them. The true question that now loomed over the galaxy was not whether humanity would rise, but whether the rest of the galaxy was prepared for the inevitable consequences of underestimating the power of human will.